Professional football in America is a special game, a unique game. Played nowhere else on earth, it is a rare game. The men who play it make it so.
What are little boys' dreams made of? Touchdown runs on the gridiron and home runs in an all-star game. What do you call a kid who does both? Well, his mother called him Vincent Edward Jackson.
Vincent Edward Bo Jackson was born in November of 1962 in Alabama.
Can't tell the story of professional football without having Bo Jackson in that list.
The greatest athlete of all time.
Don't I know you?
There are stars and there are superstars, and then there was Bo Jackson.
So Frank was able to get it in the air.
Bo Jackson unloads on this one, and no doubt about it, it's way out of here.
Buffalo ahead of Miami in the East, and now the Raiders, can they stay with Kansas City, and can Denver stay with Bo Jackson? The answer is no. Bo has another.
To me, he's the greatest athlete of the 20th century. There's not even an argument there.
He just may be the greatest athlete in the world. He's the only athlete ever to compete at all-star level in 2 professional sports. He's got world-class speed and enormous strength, coupled with surprisingly supple coordination that enables Bo Jackson, the outfielder for the Kansas City Royals, to drive baseballs up the Royal Road to oblivion.
The information about him was anecdotal.
From the time he was a little kid, he was almost like a Paul Bunyan type of figure.
And the stories about Bo Jackson were always very vivid because not only were they amazing, they were often very weird.
And all of a sudden, he just jumps out of the water and does a backflip. And my girlfriend said, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yeah, I saw that."
He dunked a stick. That he had found a stick and he was on an outdoor basketball court as an 8th grader and he dunked this stick or whatever.
I saw him, myself, jump over a Volkswagen. I saw it.
It's a strange story. It was so strange that it seemed real because why would someone make up the idea that he was dunking a stick? I remember hearing that Auburn is playing in the Sugar Bowl, and during the pregame warm-ups, he takes a football and he throws up and he hits the scoreboard, which previously only punters had done.
He went and picked the ball up and threw it up there.
The things he did were so incredible and so unbelievable that people want to talk about them. People want to keep that stuff alive.
Anything that you hear about Bo Jackson, I would probably tell you 99% of it is true.
That you wouldn't necessarily see the things you heard about them, but there was kind of this legendary, kind of Paul Bunyan description around him.
All we saw was a man doing things that we had no idea were humanly possible.
And here's Bo coming up. He's an idol of a lot of people.
Bo Jackson was the first superhero of my generation.
There's something mythical about everything that he did.
Bo Jackson was as good an athlete as the country has seen probably since Jim Thorpe.
He was like a rocket ship that was fired out of a cannon.
He was excitement incarnate. He was untouchable.
I tell you, every time that he's playing, you don't have to worry about taking a break or going somewhere when he's hitting or when he's catching, because you never know what's going to happen, man. It's going to be something exciting, and like I said, you just hope that you're there to see it. And a fly ball to left. Jackson, whoa! Did he catch it? He did! What's going on out there?
A man doing things that we had no idea were humanly possible.
Bingo! Man alive. Do you do that much?
You just kind of scratch your head and say, man, I don't know if I saw that right,
Jackson makes a great catch.
Very rare combination of explosive quick start speed and tremendous power.
He's probably the greatest athlete in the history of this country. He might be the greatest athlete in the history of the world.
He was 6'1", he was 230 pounds, chiseled marble. Incredible speed, breathtaking speed.
Speed and power and mass and girth.
It's a foot race. Will anybody catch it? Holy Toledo!
He was a freak.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
You cannot stop Bo Jackson.
Maneuver so much body mass and run away from smaller, seemingly faster people.
Was too big to be that fast. But if he ever got in the open field,
What I always was amazed by were the helpless defensive backs.
Speed and strength, you definitely got to shut him down, and if you don't shut him down, he can kill you.
He has the speed and he has the power. All those things make a defensive player start to second guess, how am I going to attack this guy? This guy is somebody that, you know, you don't have an answer for. He's just going to make plays and there's nothing you can do about it.
Catch to Jackson, getting an Allen block, cuts under it, bangs through Bosworth, touchdown Raiders!
It was like he was running a carpool for defenders. Like, hey, Bo, you going to the end zone? Yeah. Okay, we're going to hop on your back and you can just carry us in there.
I have people tell me all the time that they've never seen a running back your size with the speed that you had. And it never fazed me because I've been doing it all my life.
There were clockings of him running the 40-yard dash in 4.12 seconds. You're talking about a once-in-a-generation player.
Bo had hard speed. You felt that he was punishing the ground as he ran.
Bo Jackson wasn't just fast, he was like superhuman strong.
Bo runs faster. Bo hits harder. Bo's teammates say he's superhuman.
You can't teach a natural talent.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's Super Bowl!
Flat out fly. I mean, from the first 20 yards, I don't know if there's anybody as fast as he is. I mean, pure and simple explosion.
To the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
As a running back, he's the only player in NFL history to run more than 90 yards for a touchdown twice in one season.
You can't tell me that Bo Jackson didn't arrive on Earth naked in a blue ball of lightning. The man was a Terminator.
Bo trying to get around the left side. He reverses, coming back to the right. What a dynamic drive by Bo Jackson. I'm afraid that's nothing more than sheer unadulterated speed.
There's been 2 times that a running back has really impressed me in 14 years. One was Earl Campbell, but the other guy that really impressed me was Bo Jackson on one particular run. He had a 90-yard touchdown, and I was standing on the sideline, and as he was going in, there was a whoosh of wind.
I'm fast. He's faster.
He was actually gaining speed after 100 yards.
Bo was just better than everybody else.
Marv Albert with Bo Jackson, and the Bo Jackson legend continues.
Extraordinary two-sport star Bo Jackson, number 34, just 3 weeks after baseball, ripped off 45 yards.
Wow, to watch Bo play.
It's a foot race. Will anybody catch him?
Where do you start?
There's nothing overrated about Bo Jackson. Zero.
What a dynamic, explosive drive by Bo Jackson.
Bo is a modern-day phenomenon and has achieved a unique athletic standard. He's faster. Then there's Bo Jackson.
In the late 1980s, Jackson was an NFL cultural icon.
Okay, we all know how much Cleveland loves Tecmo Bowl, so let's start playing. On the Raiders, I'm Bo Jackson, and hopefully he'll show up.
That's no fair. Bo Jackson's too fast.
Guys, do we want Cleveland back or don't? Oh, here we go.
And in the emerging video game world, he was simply unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Ready, down, put.
Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast. Put.
You can pitch it to Bo Jackson and you sweep left and you spin him around and run it right up the middle like Marcus Allen did. Today, you can't stop that play. It's unstoppable.
A zig. A zag. A touchdown. Yeah! I won the game, and now I'm gonna jump Bo Jackson!
From his first touchdown to his final run, Bo Jackson was on the fast track to legendary status.
It was here on the athletic fields of McAdory High School that Bo Jackson made his anger work for him and earned a scholarship to Auburn University.
Bo Jackson was off the charts on everything. Every scout ran back to his coach and said, you got to have this guy.
Naturally, Bo Jackson, realizing that he is one of the great athletes of his era, had options.
He could have signed with the New York Yankees, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to go to college because he wanted to please his mother, and I think he wanted to please himself, too.
In 1982, after Jackson tied the national high school record by hitting 20 home runs, he turned down a $250,000 offer from Steinbrenner's Yankees. He would choose a college close to home. The question was, would it be Alabama or Auburn? Jackson arrived at Auburn in the summer of 1982.
You just sat there and you know, watching practice. You saw him do it with your own eyes, but you just couldn't believe what you were looking at.
Pat turned to us, and he was looking to see if we had seen what Jackson had just done. And he said, did you see that?
Give the ball up and over, and in, I believe, touchdown! Touchdown, Auburn! The Auburn Tigers have defeated the Alabama Crimson Tide by the score of 23-22 in this monumental victory, ladies and gentlemen.
Jackson finished the season strong. Averaging 162 yards per game, he scored 17 touchdowns as Auburn compiled an 8-3 record. He found himself the center of the most competitive Heisman race in history.
In the closest vote in the history of this trophy, the winner is, from Auburn University, Bo Jackson.
As he did in high school, Jackson played baseball in the spring.
He made the ballpark smaller in every way. He made the distance between the bases smaller with his world-class speed. He made the outfield fences shorter because of the greatness of his arm. He's the only player I ever saw who literally could defy the geometry of the game.
As the 1985 Heisman Trophy winner, Bo Jackson was destined for the NFL.
In 1986, Bo Jackson faced an extremely difficult decision.
The baseball people are pulling me that way, and the football people are pulling me that way.
He wants to play football when the baseball season ends. If he hopes to choose only football, he must decide so by July 15th. But the Royals remain confident that Jackson will stay in Kansas City.
Jackson was drafted by Kansas City in the 4th round and assigned to the AA Memphis Chicks. First, however, he was invited to Royal Stadium for a workout.
I remember he walked to the locker room one day in Kansas City and wearing his pinstripe suit.
He's handing out pictures of him in the Heisman Trophy Award to us Major League Baseball players. A lot of guys kind of looked at it, just pitched it. I hung mine on my locker, kind of teased him.
Hal McRae followed him and kept picking him up. And he'd say, you're in the big leagues now, son. You know, we don't care about your Heisman here.
We saw this magnificent stone of a baseball player that needed to be cut, that needed to be polished, that needed to be refined. And when it was, it would be the crown jewel. And that's what he became.
When he came over to my locker, they said, this is Bo Jackson. I'm going, what are you doing here? You know, you just won the Heisman Trophy. What are you doing in our locker room? And about 2 months later, we found out why he was there.
Bo's first Major League homer. Spectacular.
Bo goes for the fastball. Oh, that baby's out of here.
A 475-foot shot.
Look at that. He stuck it in the side wall.
The longest home run in the history of Royal Stadium.
Bo's a very gifted athlete, and it took a lot to get him to play baseball. The Royals drafted him in the 4th round. No one even wanted to take a chance on him because everybody thought that he was going to play football. I thought he was going to play football. I was very impressed with the idea that one of the teams he wanted to play for was the Kansas City Royals.
Some plays against us.
He's made defensive plays throwing the ball.
Not to mention his offensive prowess.
He was at first base. He just beaten out an infield hit.
I was holding him on first base.
The pitch is thrown.
And he was leading off, and I guess he got off too far.
The catcher comes up and throws it to me, right?
Threw down to first base.
I'm looking to catch it.
As I turned around to tag him.
And I go down to tag.
He wasn't there. He was on his way to second base.
And I look up and he's sliding into second base.
And by the time I realized that, he was standing up at second base laughing.
And I feel about this big, but just unbelievable.
High fly ball. Oh, looks like Bo just might. Oh, bodacious catch.
When I think of Bo Jackson, I think of the best athlete there's ever been, by far. He's just a God-gifted young man. Whether it's speed of foot, bat speed, he even throws fast.
I can remember pitching a game in Boston a few years ago where at bat he hit just an incredible home run against Oil Can Boyd. And then I went out there to the field, I'm pitching, and I gave up just a rocket in the left field, and all of a sudden out of the blue, Bo comes diving in there and makes an unbelievable catch.
After a while, you see things like that, and you kind of really take them in stride because, well, it's Bo, you know, and you know that Bo has that kind of ability.
Bo hits it high and deep to right field. If it stays fair, it could be. Roble in the corner. It's a home run for Bo Jackson.
One of the fastest guys I've ever seen.
And not talent. Orsolak licks that one to left center field. Bo won the charge. Bo is there. Yo, mama, love that wall.
To run a wall like that and keep your balance is incredible.
Which if I try to do that, I think I'd fall flat on my neck.
Was Bo like a jaw dropper for even professional athletes?
Yes.
Yeah?
I mean, you know, you watch him come off the football field and just without any kind of practice, just step on a baseball field and start launching balls 500 feet. It's just like unbelievable.
I don't know if there's ever been anyone doing it.
Hey. He's remarkable, and look at that one. Bo Jackson says hello.
Is this guy for real? I mean, this is not real. I mean, you know, he makes the All-Star team for the first time, and he hits a ball farther than anyone that ever hit a ball, you know, and ever.
Here in his first All-Star game, Bo hit a home run his first at bat and went on to win the most valuable player honors for the game.
You see what the pitch was? It was down and in. I mean, it was almost on the ground. He lifted that ball up. That's how strong he is. Lifted it up and hit it about 470 feet.
Hey. He's remarkable, and look at that one. Bo Jackson says hello.
When he led the game off Rick Russer and hit a home run, I couldn't believe it. I mean, here he is leading off his first All-Star game. I thought he'd be nervous, and I'm asking him on deck, Bo Jack, you nervous? Oh, Puck, I ain't nervous.
Later in the game, he stole a base. I think he and Willie Mays were the only two guys ever to hit a home run and steal a base in an All-Star game. Bo was the MVP. Bo was the show.
We were all like,
unbelievable, great arm.
And watch Bo made the catch through a BB, and Evans was dead.
He made a play defensively against us last year in Kansas City. We had Carlton Fisk on first base.
Somebody was up for the Chicago White Sox and hit a drive to left center field.
And Pudge was on first base and went all the way to second base.
You know, in Kansas City, it's 385 feet to the gap there.
And he was at full speed heading for the wall. He caught the ball.
And in the same motion, just threw a rocket.
And that thing was on a line. It was on a line coming right at me. Dove in, tagged him for a double play.
The look on Fisk's face was, where the heck did that come from?
You know, I think everybody in our dugout just kind of sat there like, oh my God.
And if that had been a play made in a World Series, it would be legendary. It was just that great an athletic play.
It was the greatest play I've ever seen.
He's got tremendous power.
Awesome power.
Power, 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 power. He's so strong that if he misses it, he still can hit it out of the park. So, you know, you've got to really be careful when you face him because anytime he swings the bat, I mean, he can hit it 500 feet.
It hit off the end of my glove, and he ended up getting a triple, but they said it was the hardest ball hit. LaFleur said it was the hardest ball hit he's ever seen.
I wouldn't say that I'm afraid of Bo Jackson because he's such a free swinger, and I like to pitch against free swingers, you know. They have a tendency to swing and miss a lot. But at the same time, if he connects, he could hurt you.
As soon as he swung and hit the ball, I knew the ball was gone, and it was just a matter of how far it was going to go. And so I turned to see where the ball hit because he hit it straight away center. And it's the longest home run that they've measured here in Arlington Stadium. That exhibits what kind of power he has, and also when you have a power pitcher with a power hitter, if they hit the ball well, then they're going to hit some long home runs off of it.
Incredible athlete, you know, awful fast and one of the fastest, strongest people I've ever seen. It's just really amazing. And you know, a lot similar to myself.
There's one thing he doesn't do. He doesn't dog it. He gives the fans their money's worth.
I mean, this guy's a blessing. It's only one of those guys in the world, and that's him.
One day he's walking back the dugout, and he was so disappointed and so mad at himself for swinging at a breaking ball in the dirt for strike 3. And he had his bat on top of his helmet, and he just started pulling.
Bo Jackson and Kansas City Royals co-owner Avron Fogelman stayed up late Friday night and had a discussion that went into the wee hours of the morning. The topic of the discussion was Bo's new hobby, a pro football career with the Los Angeles Raiders.
There are a lot of people who don't want him to do both. Let him do it. Let's get behind him. It would be great for America.
He's crazy if he thinks he can do both.
He's such a unique athlete, blessed with the size and the speed, you know, very similar to Herschel Walker. And I think football really missed something when he opted for baseball. And, you know, he might be wanting to prove himself in another sport because he has done fairly well in baseball so far.
Bo Jackson is an extraordinary athlete. I think we all know that. And if there's anyone who can pull it off, it would be Bo Jackson. I think he's crazy, and just from the pure sense of, if I had it to relive over again my childhood, I'd be down that baseball park hitting a curveball. I mean, these guys go into arbitration and lose for $1.6 million. Sorry, I'm not crying, guys.
A lot of people say, well, you know, Bo shouldn't be trying to play different sports because certainly he's not putting his mind into his whole heart into one sport. I said, well, the man's got enough talent to play whichever sport he chooses to, and yet do it very well.
He had just gotten there and had very little practice, and he's sitting there frustrated and says to me, I didn't come here to sit on the damn bench. We play next week in Seattle. I'm going to win the thing by myself.
His coming out party was against Seattle after linebacker Brian the Boz Bosworth dished him in the media.
The switch to football is more mental than physical for Bo.
3rd and 1 from the 2. Here's Bo. And there goes Bo for the touchdown.
Quick pitch to Jackson, getting an Allen block, cuts under it, bangs through Bosworth, touchdown Raiders!
In Bo Jackson's 5th NFL game, he celebrated his 25th birthday with 221 yards rushing that was highlighted by a 91-yard touchdown.
And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
He may not stop till Tacoma. He's gone.
He just took off and went, boom, like there was a jet came in. He was running so fast he couldn't slow down. He just ran all the way up to the tunnel, and they lost him. And the camera's going, bo, 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 bo. He was gone. There was no guy there.
They flip him the ball, and to watch him hit the corner, it's just all thighs and ass.
When you first think about Bo Jackson, you think about probably one of the greatest athletes of all time.
When Bo touches the football, the anticipation is unparalleled in anything I've seen in football.
An anticipation of greatness. There's never been that kind of anticipation of greatness since I've been playing the game, and that's 10 years.
You get a guy 240 pounds running a 4.2 or 4.1, it's hard to bring him down in the open field.
I'm going to be honest. Bo, he ran my ass over.
And then he ran over Denver for a few plays. Literally ran through people.
But I've got a piece about it, honestly, because he ran a lot of asses over.
You see him starting right. He looks like he's in trouble, but look how hard he hits people. He's just so quick. Look at that burst, banging into people. This explosion. He's really beating the defenders to the punch. That's the greatness that this guy has as an athlete.
Meanwhile, in his other sport, Jackson was beginning to make the same kind of impact. By 1989, he had established himself as a bona fide power hitter with 32 home runs and 105 RBI. Against the Mariners, he made a throw for the ages.
He made the greatest throw I ever saw in Seattle. To me, Harold Reynolds was running.
I take off, I get a great jump, falling through left field corner. I'm thinking, ain't no way they're going to get me. I'm flying, full speed around second.
Bo gets the ball, he just turns around and just throws the ball. Threw it as hard as I could. I threw it where I thought home plate would be.
And the next hitter is going slide. I'm thinking, slide? Are you crazy?
He can't do it. Yes, he can. I don't believe it. He made an absolutely perfect throw.
And I hop up and I slam my helmet down because I'm like, no way.
He is still the only man to be chosen for the baseball all-star game and be elected to the football Pro Bowl in the same year.
There was some sense that he was playing just to play.
His extraordinary two-sport career has made him the most recognized and sought-after athlete spokesperson today.
Vincent Bo Jackson. All right, everybody knows Bo?
Bo knows baseball.
Bo knows football.
Bo knows basketball, too.
Bo knows tennis?
Bo knows running.
No.
Bo knows it.
Stop!
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's Super Bowl!
Bo Jackson was as good an athlete as the country has seen probably since Jim Thorpe.
That's no fair. Bo Jackson
Jackson's too fast.
But if he ever got in the open field, what I always was amazed by were the helpless defensive backs. As a running back, he's the only player in NFL history to run more than 90 yards for a touchdown twice in one season.
It's no fair. Bo Jackson's too fast.
He's got world-class speed and enormous strength.
Wham! Wham!
Very rare combination of explosive quick start speed and tremendous power.
Look how hard he hits people. He's just so quick. Look at that burst. Banging into people.
Bo Jackson breaks into the 30. He's to the 50. He's to the 30. He's to the 20.
Bo Jackson wasn't just fast. He was like superhuman strong.
Oh!
He was like a rocket ship that was fired out of a cannon.
It's no fair. Bo Jackson's too fast.
There are stars and there are superstars, and then there was Bo Jackson.
It's no fair. Bo Jackson's too fast.
Bo got to scoot to his left, away from it, and hit it. I mean, hit it, and he was gone.
To me, he's the greatest athlete of the 20th century. There's not even an argument there.
It's no fair. Bo Jackson's too fast.
A touchdown! Yeah!
Dude did some things on the field that seemed impossible. He ran a 4.1240 at the NFL Combine, and no one has even come close to that.
I won the game, and now I'm gonna jump Bo Jackson!
Bo was just better than everybody else.
Pure and simple explosion.
Averaging 6.2 yards per carry this season, Bo is already being compared to the great backs. And although he needs slightly over 200 carries to qualify, he is on a pace to take the career lead. The current leader is still not impressed.
Don't ask me to compare myself to a half-a-season guy in any way. That's insulting to all of us who had to play in the snow and who had to bleed out of our nose and who had to, have an average when we had to carry on third down and one in touchdowns when there's 1 yard to go when the defense was stacked, to a guy that comes in with the perfect circumstances.
Bo Jackson averaged 5.4 yards per carry, more than any running back in NFL history. But his place in the record books is hypothetical.
He hasn't played much baseball. He spent most of his time playing football. But if he gets hurt in football and can't play baseball anymore, it's going to be, well, what could have been? And we don't want that to happen. We want to see Bo at his peak, and I think he can make it.
As much as he gave during that short era, you could only imagine.
He's to the 20. And he slides. No, they're going to march it down.
It's sad because what might have been is one of the great runners of all time.
Jacked up the field to the 15 to the 20, 25, he's at the 30.
He is going to be the infamous Ron Jones. He will be the one that's able to tell his kids and his grandkids, I caught Bo Jackson from behind. What a run. Take a look at Jay Schrader right here actually helping out. Jay Schrader throws a little bit of a block right there on Jones. Now watch, Jones is in the trail position the entire way. He's stumbling right there, but now Bo has it. He's at full speed. He comes back to the inside. He's starting to fade now. You can see the big bear is getting on his back. He's getting tired. Right there, Jones gets it just before he gets into the end zone.
Now we're talking about Bo Jackson here. If I could take the Bo from the late 80s into today's games, and he were 100% healthy, which in the end he obviously was not, Bo would dominate in football and baseball just the way he dominated in the late 80s.
To the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you played with Bo Jackson and Michael Jordan?
Yes.
All right, so who's the better athlete?
Definitely Bo.
Better athlete, you or Jordan?
Athlete?
Yeah.
What is your definition of an athlete?
I don't know.
I think an athlete has the ability to do multiple things.
Okay.
At a very high level.
Could Michael have played baseball at a high level?
You're forgetting a profound guy in this conversation, Bo Vincent Jackson. If it wasn't for Bo, it wouldn't be no prime. So let's start with Bo.
Is Bo the best athlete?
I believe so.
When I played for Florida State as a freshman, true story, Bo was in Auburn. Back in the backfield with Brent Fullwood, probably the best tandem of running backs I've ever seen in college. These guys are unbelievable. And, you heard of Bo Jackson, so you were kind of in awe as a young collegiate. I'm 17 years old playing Florida State, 18 at the time, just turned 18. Bo goes behind the huddle in Auburn and throws his hands up as if he was signifying the crowd to get it up. They start cheering and applauding, and I was playing left corner. Bo got a sweep to his left, away from me, and hit it. I mean, hit it, and he was gone. I came out of nowhere because I could fly. Came and got him, ran up on him like it was no other. With his right arm, he extended it, placed it on my helmet like as if he was praying for me, palming my helmet, and stiffed me down and kept going into the end zone like I wasn't even there.
Mike Jordan is like me. He couldn't hit the curveball, all right? I'm still waiting on the curve, all right? So, and Bo could.
Who was the pitcher that you just went, I got no chance?
Everybody with a left hand. Everybody with a left hand.
Did you, so Randy Johnson?
They put me in Arizona one time. I'm over there chilling, knowing I'm not going to play. Randy Johnson is pitching.
Uh-oh.
And they come grab me off the bench in like the seventh. Hey, we want you to pinch hit. For what? For what? This guy's finger rolling the ball at 6'9".
See you later.
Yep. Right three.
Got it. Don't think so. You knew that was coming. John had no chance.
Jesus Christ.
Dude did some things on the field that seemed impossible. He ran a 4.1240 at the NFL Combine, and no one has even come close to that. Bo was larger than life. From his Bo-Nose commercials, to being the most unstoppable video game character of all time, from being the only athlete ever to make an NFL Pro Bowl and to be in an All-Star game in baseball, Bo was a living legend. But most of the story with Bo Jackson is revolved around what ifs. What if he never got hurt? What if he didn't retire early?
Would a healthy Bo Jackson have joined Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders, O.J. Simpson, and Terrell Davis?
Just a career that was cut short of an injury, but still one of the greatest athletes to ever put on a football uniform and a baseball uniform.
What would the baseball career have been like if he just concentrated on that?
Scary. He hit a ball to me, and I took like 3 steps and dove, and I for sure thought I had him at second, and he was rounding second, and I had to double pump, and I actually threw the ball to the pitcher who was standing on the mound because I was afraid that he was going to try to score.
You think he would have been a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
And he had that arm, too. I mean, he covered so much ground. He was so fast.
Jackson, what a catch in left field.
Cal Ripken sending one to left center. This guy can fly. A great catch by Bo Jackson. Nice tumble there.
And Mike Heath is going to try to score from second. Now, despite the throw up the line, Heath is out by length of a Motown luxury car.
There's no way of knowing how great he might have been had he stayed healthy.
Although his career was brief, I'm going to tell you, if there's a shooting star that was brighter than this guy, I'd like to see it.
When you talk about great running backs of all time, you're going to forget Bo Jackson, but Bo Jackson was one of the great running backs of all time.
If he would have stuck to baseball, I think, and really dedicated himself, he could have been one of the great players ever to play the game, in my opinion.
You can look back and say, what if he had played 15 years and starred in 2 sports? Would he have been the greatest athlete of the last century? Who knows?
He falls into the heading of kind of a guy that, there were kind of moments, there were snapshots, but you feel cheated you didn't get to see the whole album.
Jackson, that is, strikes out.
He just snapped his
back.
Bo Jackson was an athlete who made his mark by doing the impossible. His talent seemed limitless as the possibilities of what could have been.